Well, I'm out of ideas, said my new shipmate, flipping a blue-black tentacle. He was the pointy-headed variety of strong-arm, looking more like a squid than an octopus, and I wasn't honestly sure if that made him a different species or not. All that mattered today was that he was in charge of the cargo in this room, which kept getting out of its pen. One had apparently even made it down the hallway before he caught up with a net. "You're sure this species can't teleport or anything like that?" I asked, as I looked through the clear walls at the four-legged beasties. I'd seen enough already in my jaunt through the galaxy that I wasn't ruling anything out. These creatures had long necks and stringy orange fur that I could swear moved on its own. Terrier-sized llamas with sea anemone jackets. "If they can teleport, we are not getting paid enough to transport them," the squiddy guy said. What was his name? Merv? Right, Mer. "At least they're only going for the food," I said. "No gaps in the walls that I can see." I paced around the enclosure, where the handful of animals perked up and came to watch me. "The roof doesn't lift off, does it?" Mer scoffed, a flappy noise that was much funnier to me than I let on. "Not likely. It's clamped on tight, and how would they get up there anyway? They might as well be squeezing through the air holes." "Which air?" "Oh, these things? These are pretty big." I gave the rectangular cutouts an appraising stare. High off the ground or not, they were definitely big enough for a properly motivated small creature to fit through. But these critters were shin height, and the vents were almost too high for me to reach. "The walls are not climbable," Mer declared, curling 3 tentacles in irritation. "We've used this pen for climbing animals before. It's designed on the molecular level to make them slide off, even the suction cup sticky types. And again, if they can teleport or levitate or something, then the people who engaged our services are going to get a big fat liar's fee on their bill." "How high can they jump?" I asked. Waggling fingers at the orange llama things, I crouched for a closer look. 2 big ones waddled over on stiff legs, while a smaller one hopped erratically, kicking its feet up like an excited rabbit. Not that high, surely. The little one ramped up to full zoomies, dashing about in a circle. "Just how sure are you?" I asked. As I stood back up, the little orange creature jumped off the side of another one, instead of going around, knocking it over with a complaining bleat. These aren't space llamas, I thought. These are space goats. The fallen one got back onto its feet with the improbable help of its fur. Yeah, that was definitely a field of tentacles instead of hair. Mer wove his own tentacles together. "There's no way." "I'll bet you they're getting out the vents," I said, rejoining him. "I have seen animals like this on my planet reach some impressive heights. What do people wager on this ship? Money, food, entertainment?" He gave me a speculative look. "Say more about that last one." "If I'm wrong, I'll stand on a table and sing a space shanty." "Done. How do you expect to prove it?" "Firstly, do you guys really not have a camera in this storage hold? I thought that was standard for everything but the private quarters." Mer gave a bubbling sigh and wrapped a tentacle around the back of his pointy head, gesturing upward with another. "We have one. It's broken. Don't ask whose fault it is. We're going to get it fixed soon." "What about a handheld?" I asked, pulling out mine and unfolding it. "Widescreen and an adhesive function. If we leave the door open, I can stick it where we can watch from the hallway." "Sure. Why not? At least we'll get some entertainment at mealtime." While I set up the camera with a wide focus, Mer got out the food for the space goats. This immediately drew their attention. They all clustered on that side of the pen, the smaller ones bouncing in place with no regard for whether they landed on floor or friend. Mer dumped a small container of food onto the floor, little green nubbins of some sort. Could have been peas, frogs, or erasers. The space goats clearly liked them. "Oh no," Mer said theatrically. "I have spilled food. I will have to get something to clean it up. I'd better go do that." He shoved the rest back into the storage cabinet, closed it, then slapped his way to the exit. I moved out of sight, watching the camera. He had barely cleared the doorway when the smallest 3 got running starts around the enclosure, sprang up at an angle, and slid across the wall like figure skaters. The first one to reach a vent dove through it with all the smoothness of a prize-winning pole vaunter. The second was partway through when the third slammed into it. Both complained. One fell to the floor of the pen. The other used its sea anemone fur to grasp the edge of the hole and pull itself through. The second one joined the first in snorfling up food, while the third got another running start. I looked at Murr. "Ugh," he said, pressing tentacles across his face. "I hate animal cargo." "Do we need gloves or anything to catch them?" I asked. "They look poisonous." "If so, no one's told me that either." "No, we can just use the nets. We'd better hurry before they get out of the room." "Right." I put away my handheld and followed him back in, with the door shutting behind us as the 5 creatures finished the last of the food. It was an excitable chase that followed, but a successful one. No troublesome space goats made it out to wreak havoc on the rest of the ship. I helped Murr glue mesh over the vents, salvaged from food packaging and probably strong enough to resist impact from hungry beasties. The promised entertainment at mealtime was fun. I took pity on Murr and sang along with him to the enjoyment of the rest of the crew. Luckily, we knew at least one space shanty in common. Then someone else wanted to go, and it became a rollicking celebration. Turns out there are many songs about troublesome animals, and given that a couple of the crew members were good with lyrics, soon there was one more. "I've got to write this down," I said. "There are people back home who'd love it. Say, have you heard the ballad of Stabby the Roomba?" Even the captain sang along with that one. It was a long time before we got back to our duties, but no one complained.